Hello, I hope that you are doing great. Today we are going to cover the material in chapter 8, in which basically we are going to proceed in 4 different blocks. In the first block, basically what we are going to do is to create and validate a Flash form. In the second block, basically what we are going to do is to connect these forms with HTML files. In the third block, basically what we are going to do is to disclose some information to the user. And in the final block, what we are going to do is to deploy our form in Amazon Web Service, and we are going to to protect sensitive information by using environmental variables. Okay, then let's move on. Okay, the first thing that we have to do is to create a virtual environment, and you have already to have installed the Flask and Blueprint. You have to download the folder in the GitHub account that is boilerplate number 1. And basically now what we need to do is to install package and other packages that we are going to use, and is pip install, and basically here we are going to install Flask BTF. This is the first package. The second package that we need to install is pip install email validator. Okay. Okay, that's all. Now the next thing that we have to do is you have to go to the boilerplate, and then inside the user package you have to open the forms.py file. Okay, and then here basically what we have to do is from Flask BTF we need to import Flask form. The next thing that we have to do is to define a class that is going to be registration form, and this is going to be a Flask form. Okay, and here we are going to introduce different fields. The first field that we are going to introduce is an username, and this is going to be a string field. And basically the next thing that we have to do is to introduce this string field, and then is from BT forms import string field. Okay, and now basically here we are going to place a label of username, and we are going to introduce some validators. That is going to be, for example, data required, and therefore we also have to introduce these validators from BT forms validators import data required. Okay. This is with capital letters. Data required, and basically here we also need to introduce a length that is going to be min of 2 and max of 30, and therefore we also need to introduce that data required, that is length. Okay, then the next field that we are going to introduce is email, and it's going to be a string field as well. Here we are going to disclose label is going to be email, and basically we also need to introduce some validators. That is going to be data required validator, and here we need another validator that is going to be email, and therefore we need to introduce to import this as well, email. Okay. The next field that we need is to define a password. And this is a new field, and therefore we have to introduce it here, password. And here basically we are going to introduce the level is going to be password. And the validators is going to be data requires validators. It's going to be data required. And the next field that we need to do is to confirm password, and then confirm password is going to be password field. Here is this is password field. This is password field. Here is password field. And basically here the label is going to be confirm password. And here again we are going to introduce some validators. It's going to be again data required. And here is going to introduce another validator that is equal to, and here basically this has to be equal to password. And basically we also need to introduce that validator that is equal to. Okay. And the last field that we need is the submit button. Submit. That this is a submit field. And here basically the label is going to be sign up. And this is something that also we need to import, is submit field. Okay, and that's all. This is for the forms. This is, we have basically create the form. Then the next thing that we have to do is to call that form and to validate that form. And basically what we have to do is to go to the users folder, the users package, and then we have to open the routes folder. And here basically we need, the first thing that we need is to import other methods that we are going to use is redirect. We are going to use also the flash method. And we are going to use the URL for method. Then the next thing that we have to do is to import the class that we have created, the form. And then we have to go to the folder cap, to the package users, to the field forms, and we have to import the form that we have created, data, the registration form. Okay. Then we have also to allow in the users, in the methods, we have to allow also the post method in such a way that the user can can post some information. The next thing that we have to do is to introduce the form in our function, and here is going to be a registration form. And the next thing that we have to do is to validate it, and to do that is if form validate on submit. Basically what we are going to do is return, and we are going to redirect the users to the home page, because once that you register, you don't want to be again in the register web page, but you want to go in the home page. And this is basically what we are doing here, is go to the function that is inside the home route, and here is going to be home. We are calling this function. Okay, URL form, and that's all. That's what we have to do in this root form, in the routes to validate the form. And the last thing that we need to do is basically we need to protect the form, and to do that we need to create a secret key, and we have to go to the init file and we have to create this secret key, and this basically is going to protect the routes from external kind of violations or something like that. And to create a secret key, you can create a random secret key by yourself. If you want to do this kind of more professional way, you have to go to the terminal and you have to go inside the Python terminal. Now you have these three arrows. This means that you are inside the Python terminal, and then you have to import os, and then here is basically os u random 24, and this is going to be x, and here basically you create, I'm going to quit from this, and now you copy this number and you paste it here, and that's all. Now we save this information, and now we go to the terminal and we type python application.py, and that's all. This is great, this is fantastic, we didn't make any mistake. If we go here, nothing's happened right now because we go to the register page and we don't have any HTML, and this is what we are going to do in the next video. In the next video, when we click in the register here or here, we are going to have a form here basically, and this is what we are going to do in the next video. Okay, this concludes the first video, in which basically we have created a form and we have validated and we have introduced a secret key in the init file. In the next video, what we are going to do is to connect this form with an HTML file. Okay, see you in the next video.